But Democrats were supposed to flip the Senate and didn't. Supposed to flip state legislatures, not a one. And they lost seats in the House in a year that was so much about making people aware of racism. Their share of minority votes went down. Republicans are the party of don't wear masks, kids in cages, lock her up, and Democrats are the party of every hypersensitive social justice warrior, woke bullshit story in the news. They're the party that disappears people or tries to make them apologize for ridiculous things. Anne Hathaway apologized last week because in her new movie she plays a witch, a fictional character that has 3 claw-like fingers, and that's offensive to people with limb differences. Hey. The week before, the NHL's Arizona Coyotes dropped a player after it came out in the press that when he was in 8th grade, he bullied a disabled kid. Yes, that's a bad thing to do. But are we really going after people for what they did in middle school now?
So that's Bill Maher in that clip, very aptly pointing out why the right in the modern era has really become the more populist party in America. Why it is that, we have people like Donald Trump who have the more populist view of the world are really resonating well with the common man, with the middle American, sort of everyday American family and life. And the reason he very aptly points out is that the big part of it is that the Democratic Party and the liberal establishment in America has become so fixated on sort of speech regulation, on political correctness, on sort of this corporate style, political correctness, social justice warrior mentality. And as the examples he points out, he gives the examples of sort of how Anne Hathaway ended up apologizing because she played a witch with 3 fingers, as if anyone would really be offended by that. Again, this is the mindset that has resonated throughout the Democratic Party and the left for really the last decade now. And the reality is it maybe wasn't always the case. The reality is if you go back and you look at the past, the Democratic Party was much more the party of the average working class, blue collar, really white male in many cases. They were the Union Party. They were the party of that working class demographic. And they had personalities that were very populist, very outspoken, and very well appealed to that demographic. But now the Democratic Party is really becoming the party of elitism. They're becoming the party of moralizing. The moralizing, elitist left that's really going into these working class communities, these middle class communities, and telling these blue collar fathers that work, for a living and that support their family that they're bad people because they talk a certain way. Or they tell maybe an off-color joke every now and then. If they have a sense of humor about things that they deem to be inappropriate. And the reality is your common man, your common American, it could be a woman also, simply does not want this mentality. They feel threatened by it. And what we saw in this last election, as Bill Maher also points out, is that this is really starting to resonate with minorities as well. And I just know from my own life, from talking to black males and Hispanic males, that a lot of these people are really threatened by this. They're feeling like they want to be a masculine male, they want to act like a man, and they feel like they're looked down on by this sort of elitist, white, corporate Democrat establishment that really is just trying to undercut freedom of speech and freedom of expression. And the reality is, as long as the Democratic Party is taking that mindset, we on the right have a very good opportunity to make inroads with the Latino community and with the black community to win over some of these more alpha male mentalities, to win over these sort of alpha male machismo sort of people in the Latino community. We could go in there and we can win those demographics. And so really, it's really important to read the other side and read the criticisms of the other side. And the reality is political correctness, for as long as it's going on, in many respects can be a major benefit to us on the right in really regaining some influence on culture. And we saw with Trump that an alternative sort of conservative right culture is being developed. And just because Trump lost this election does not mean that that mentality is going to go away. And that's something that can really be harnessed. And really, we just need to look forward and really try to harness that. And I feel like that's something that can really be done.